Hey y'all. So it's a Sunday and it seems like not a lot going on. Usually people going to church, you know, trying to hear the word of God and listening to the Bible, listening to a preacher talk from the pulpit. And I mean, that's usually what happens on Sunday, right? Well, for the last past maybe 3 months, I've been focused on one thing only. See, everyone has a gift, and very, very few people, and I mean very, very few, actually find out what their gift is in life. Could you imagine that? There are trillions of people in this world. Trillions. Some are out on drugs, some are out, doing different things. There's a lot of people who go out and get jobs, over the road truck drivers. I've done that for the last past 8 years. Um, some people are out selling drugs. Not that I knock anybody's hustle, just saying these are things that people do. The purpose of it is what? To make money because we're under the Federal Reserve System. But understanding that even under the Federal Reserve System, money is still it's just a thought in the mind. It's what you make of it, right? A lot of people say that, well, you're not supposed to necessarily amass a lot of it, but what do you mean? Like, okay, if you're married, if you're in a relationship and you lack money or your financial status is like real dim, like my eyes right now are real dim, yeah, if that's your status, you're probably in a lot of trouble. Either the person, your spouse, your relationship, significant other, is looking the other direction or giving you these big eyes like, hey, listen, you got with me, you're supposed to be the leader. Like, what happened? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And that's the crazy thing is most people don't understand why they're doing something. You get up every day, you go to work. Let me rephrase that. You go to your job. You perform their work. Why? So if God gave you a gift when He created you, He made sure He created you fearfully because He wanted to make sure what He created was actually going to sink down deep into you. And when you got old enough, same thing as Christ, when you got old enough, you're going to use that gift or you're going to look for it. It's all about searching, right? Think about this. If you go out today and apply for a job, what happens for the first 90 days? You're on probationary period, right? But what happens when that job is no longer? You're still working there for right now, but if something happens with that job, guess what? You go bye-bye. That's the problem with this world. You're not deploying yourself or learning what your gifts are, or even if you just have one gift, it's enough for you to use that gift to keep on rolling. You got to keep on moving with things and never just stay still. Well, for the last past 3 months, that's what I've been working on. I know because for the longest time, think about it, man. My life, there's a few problems I've had. I've been in shambles. I'm human. I'm imperfect, but I'm not using that as a crutch neither. But considering the fact that everywhere I went seemed like there was no job for me. It's not that I couldn't find one. It's just I found one, but I didn't last very long. I'll get irritated. I'll get bored. Usually I got fired. As soon as I asked for management, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a manager. The reason behind that, because the manager don't have to keep on calling and asking for, a supervisor. Same difference. When you have something you're taking care of and a customer needs some help, what usually happens? Oh, let me get my supervisor. Let me get my manager. So I want to become a manager. Problem is, God didn't want me managing. See, there's a difference between a manager and a leader. I have become what God has put into me There's a seed. We're all seeds on this earth. And in order for you to actually pay attention, the hardest part is to stop, meditate, think about it. So this guy, the one talking to you right now, Shawn Williams, I done lost every job I've ever had since I was 14 years old. I started work early. I got tired of asking my dad for money. And, he's like, Shawn, you think money grow on trees? No, money don't grow on trees. It actually, well, technically, it's made, you know, a mixture. Trees, linen. Money years ago was made with hemp. So, technically, it was grown on trees or plants. But nowadays, it's just paper form. So, I guess there's a little bit of truth to growing on trees, right? But you can't physically pick it like you can a piece of fruit. You have to actually make it, and it has to be printed. The point I'm getting at is, as a youngster, I think I started when I was maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7. I was cutting grass for the local area neighbors. To this very day, I still own a house that is in my old neighborhood. But that's what I would do. I would get up at, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, go out and cut grass. And not only did I get up and go cut grass, I borrowed the money. My dad gave me, I think, like $1, because gas was like not even $1 a gallon yet. I sound that old, right? I'm 32. I was cutting grass in 1991, 92. That was my first real work. To this very day, I still do it, but I have it under an LLC now. Getting back to the story, as I progressed, I'll go out and I cut grass, come back. My neighbors would pay me to, carry the groceries in the house. And then, I was raised in the church. So, in the church, in a religious group, the one thing my father wanted me to do, because, he was like one of the ministers, was, hey, Shawn, I want you to go up on the pulpit and preach. Well, I'm, 6, 7 years old. What am I going to preach about? I don't know nothing about life yet. I had a little bit of understanding when it came to certain things, but, it's besides the point. It wasn't like I'm talking to you right now. I have no script. I didn't write any of this down. This is all coming straight out of my head. And you're hearing everything that I've done from start to finish, but we're not going to do an entire start to finish video. That's too much. We're going to break these up, and over a period of time, you are going to get to know who this guy is. Not to mention, you're going to see what I went through, and in some cases, I'm going to give a best and worst case scenario so you can visualize what it is you're doing now and help create or expose that gift, that little mustard grain faith that you have in God, mustard seed, excuse me. I'm going to help you expose your gift. So, getting back to the story, I joined a young men's school within the church to, I want to say preach, but it was more, I was reading from the Bible, learning how to enunciate, learning how to poise myself, adjusting my volume, all because we were learning how to go out and preach. And I did a great job with it. Not to mention, my grandma was there to help me. God rest her soul now. But she left behind a lot of keys to things that we needed to learn in life. How is that helping me now? Because now I'm learning what it is I need to do in life. I've been battling, getting just cringing, irritated, because in life, God gives you a gift, and I want to know what my gift was. I thought maybe cutting grass was my gift. I'm good at it. I can cut, you know, different patterns in the grass. Um, I know that Steve Harvey, his partner, was able to, as he mentioned, cut your initials into your grass. I ain't quite that skilled, but what I am is understanding. So I learned how to cut grass. I have it as a side business. I actually enjoy doing that. I like the smell of fresh cut grass, even the trees. You ever smell just, what trees and bushes are like when they're freshly cut? It smells so good. But that's the thing. What do you do so well and not have to put so much effort into it? So when I was maybe like 10, I learned how to start fixing houses. A buddy of mine, another one who's passed away, his name was Tom. This guy actually taught me how wiring works, like installing whole circuit boxes and breakers. Putting up fresh wires and buckling everything down and running it so that, it's up to code and things like that. I learned all that. I didn't get paid for it because, I was working with him, but, I wasn't legal enough to work back then. We're talking mid-90s. I'm 10 years old. All I did was just basically apprentice for him. But I learned, these are things that when you grow up, you put yourself in the right position to learn these things. My father worked a full-time job, and this guy, Tom, just so happened to be working on a house next door to my old house. So one day I just went in and said, "Excuse me, sir, do you need help?" And he was insured, licensed. He said, "Yeah, if you want, you can come in. I'm painting the walls." This was downstairs in the front room. So he took me and showed me how to, roll the walls and paint them. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. I actually like this. And then that same day, he was going to leave. I said, "Where you going?" He said, "Oh, well, I got to go home. I do have things to do." I said, "Well, wait a second. You coming back tomorrow?" He said, "No, why?" I said, "Well, I'd like to do some more work for you because I'd like to learn." Remember, I'm about 10 years old. This guy is in his 50s, 40s, somewhere around there. And that seemed weird to a lot of people. Like, why are you trying to hang out by yourself with a guy upwards of 40 years old and you're still in elementary school? Some people saw that weird. Nowadays, that really does look weird, but back then, it was just all my family members I hung out with were older. I didn't really get along with younger kids because I wasn't looking for that in life. Who cares about that kind of thing? Yeah, hide and go seek is fun. Playing with your siblings is fun. My siblings tortured me, so I didn't want to play with them. I just wanted to go out and learn something. That was all. I wanted to see, when something broke in the house, why is it that we can't fix it? The first time a circuit breaker broke in my father's house, I remember it arced. It was like they're both put together, right? One on this side, one on this side. And there was like an arcing between them. So I'm like, okay, cool. Dad, how can we fix it? My dad said, "I don't know about that." So he called his electrician, paid $750 on an emergency basis to come out to the house and fix it. A $10 part. Just to show up was $700. That didn't include the parts. And then he complained the whole time. "Oh, man, you kids always talking about y'all want some money to go out and spend. You don't know what it's like in this real world, having to go out and work for money." You're absolutely right. I don't. But I will. So, after my friend Tom had taught me how to do circuits, I was wondering why it was that every single time I turned around, there was a circuit blowing in the house. Like, why is it the lights go off if you turn on the front living room and the microwave in the kitchen, the lights blow out? Why? So I said, okay, I'm going to fix this problem. So I didn't have a computer back then. There was no Google for me. There was no YouTube. None of that. There might have been in the works, but we're talking early 90s here. They didn't even have cell phones like this smartphone. They had flip phones. Not even. Most of the phones then were, probably as big as a smartphone but thick, and it looked like it looked like a rotary phone without the rotary. So I took the time out to learn how to do it. I went to a nearby thrift store. I bought a book on electrical. Yeah, remember, I'm 10 years old. I go to the store, get this book. The guy looks at me like I'm crazy for purchasing a book about electrical. Probably like 1,000 pages. But it also had the codes for Pennsylvania. I had to remember those things have to be up to code. You can't just install something and, catch the house on fire. Well, your insurance ain't going to cover it if it's not up to code in the first place. So once I learned how it worked, the breakdown of it, how everything internally works, I said, okay, cool. I went and got my father to buy a brand new breaker, about, 30 amp, I believe it was. Originally, it was a 25 amp. I didn't tell him I was going to install it that same day, but I did. Well, everybody came in the house, turned the lights on, microwaves on, third floor lights on, bathroom lights on, everything is on. Not a trip in a breaker. Do you know no one even noticed it? For a good while, breaker wouldn't trip. One day I decided to go downstairs and switch it off. Shawn! That's what I heard. Can you go switch the breaker back on? I ignored him. I waited. Well, finally, my dad came downstairs. Slow walker. He's up in age now. But he came downstairs and said, what's wrong? I said, I turned the breaker off. He said, why would you do that when everybody's home doing things? I said, the reason why is because none of you have paid attention to the fact that it hasn't been tripping for the past almost month now. It hasn't tripped. Turn everything on and it's still going. Why? Because this 10-year-old kid figured out how to do it and not cause a problem. Change the wiring out and all eventually. But why am I giving you this story? Why does any of this make sense? I'm explaining it. The reason why it makes sense is because in life, most people settle. Do they not? Most people want to just do whatever suits them. They get a job, they're unhappy with the job. Financial problems, that's the biggest problem in America. Finances will ruin a relationship, it'll ruin a marriage. If you have a business, it'll ruin your business. If you have a church, it'll take your whole church under. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because if you don't put yourself in position to learn, put yourself in position to figure out how to do things, what good is it for you to be here? God put you here on this earth for you to plant yourself. He waters you, but He put you here to be planted. We are all seeds bearing gifts and fruitage, and yet so many people are not figuring that out. Or they figured it out, but the challenge of life. Life is a major challenge. At least get started, though. Like, tell me, and obviously I can't hear you in the video, but answer me this. If you had just a little bit more money, would you still be stressed out like you are? If you could pay all your bills and have a surplus every month, if you could buy the house you want to buy, if you could live in freedom, I mean, it's not absolute, obviously, but it's freedom. If you could live like that, you're going to tell me you wouldn't? Here's the thing. You can live like that. What are your gifts? I learned mine. I'm developing mine. What's crazy is it's already developed, but I'm human again. So I have to learn what God put in me by cultivating my relationship with the Most High first, Yahweh, and then going from there to understanding who I am. See, this body, is nothing but flesh. That's it. The spirit works with this, the mind. That's why the Apostle Paul is able to say, I'm at war, my mind versus my flesh. Your flesh wants to do whatever it is the inclination of it wants to do. But the mind is always thinking on a spiritual level unless you haven't trained it. But if you're thinking that there's more to life than there is, then you have to figure out, well, why do you think that way? What's the wisdom in it? What are you supposed to learn? That's the craziest thing about life, is that God put you here, but it's your job to find Him, find your seed, understand who you are. If not, tell me you're not wasting time. That's why games are developed. Software developers create games because people like to waste time. Not saying anything's wrong with games, but I'll tell you the truth, I haven't played a game in I don't know how long. Every day, since the day I was 6 years old, I'll go out and find some work to do. Why? One, put gas in the car, food on the table, bills gotta be paid. And I hate stressing about something that doesn't even have my own face on it. You ever look at a bill lately? $1, $50, $100 bill, 20, 10. They have faces of the Federal Reserve, the family members of their family, and everything else. None of that's your face. But we utilize it as a monetary system so we can get the things that we need, and a lot of times, things that we want. But so then, if that's the case, why do you go out and make it? Because that monetary system is what runs this government. You make it go round, but the monetary system runs it. You take away the monetary system, the system crashes. Because it's a form of money that we use. Cool. But why are you stressing over it? If you have a gift, which every person does, why aren't you searching it out? You got to first search out the one who created it in you. Why aren't you doing it? What's the point? Why are you even still breathing right now? Because God gave you breath, right? So, not that I'm trying to preach to you, but I'm saying, if you're thinking about what I'm saying right now, just thinking about it, if you're watching this video right now and what I'm saying to you is clicking, ponder over these things. Become absorbed in not my words, but the things that you're coming to understand as you're listening to, maybe not just me. Maybe there's motivational speeches out there. Maybe you're reading the Bible. Maybe you're a churchgoer. Whatever the case may be. See, you don't want to be boxed in. Get rid of that mindset. You want to take what you have, learn who you are. Other than that, you're just going to exist. Don't you want to live? I know I do. I started early on in my years figuring out what I need to do and how we're going to make it happen. When I say we, I mean me and God. I don't know the how. Ain't my concern neither. My concern is I got to develop me because I'm 32 now. The age span is what? 60, 70 years old? The Bible calls it 80 with a special mightiness? What? So I'm already at the 2/4 point. In my opinion, I'm not going to sit down and just watch time go by or go out and find a job and be extremely hateful because what am I doing all day? I just traded my time for money, and that time could be anywhere from 8 to 14 hours a day. Think about that. You really want to do that? Do you really want to do that? Some of you might be like, yeah, man, I don't care. It's no big deal to me. I don't mind working. It's not about whether you mind working or not. Do you want to be at someone's job? Go work, yeah. Find what it is you were here to do and work. But going out and getting a job, that's still considered lazy if you're not trying to find out what your seed is so you can work. Tell me I'm lying. I didn't write the words. They were already written. But I have come to understand some things in life, and I just wanted to share that with y'all. Every single day, I'm going to make a video post. Here, I'm not on Facebook right now. I deleted it. But I'm getting ready to restart the Facebook page, and I'm on Instagram. On Instagram, you can find me under Shawn Williams, Changing Horizons. Changing Horizons is one of my business names. And eventually you'll see another one called Establish Connections. I hope you guys will learn to establish your connection with the Most High. I love y'all. I hope you have a great day. Please, please, please ponder. Don't just listen to what I have to say. I'm not the only one. But I know I'm not going to keep on doing the same thing redundantly every single day. Find your gift. Realize your gift. Work out your gift. And continue to motivate yourselves.